Welcome to Emergence with Elaira, where we explore the fusion of embodied spirituality, psychology, energetics, self-leadership, and heart-based entrepreneurship. I'm Elaira Tichkuti, your guide on this journey into unfolding new social purpose and humanity-driven business paradigm and our own emergence through that. I want to talk about how to build our life, ourselves, and a meaningful body of work that truly resonates with our essence, our integrity, capacity, and extrasensory sensitive nature, while redefining success in today's world. "2026 is going to be very much about personal power and through self-leadership. So the key words I wrote there, and I will elaborate all of them, but it's new beginnings, the fire, the action, strong selfhood, self-leadership, collective threshold, emotional and purpose ignition, psychological and integrity pressure cooker. That what came up to me, and I will elaborate all these words that I shared because these are all the themes. Because, and that's why I'm focusing, just to give you a bit of background, my predictions are always focused on my audience, my people. And my people are these sensitive visionaries, heart-based leaders, these pioneers, conscious awake people who want to step out in the world with their work, with their power, with their leadership, with their claiming their life. And all what I will share will be to prepare. My intention is to prepare you for the next year. So this information is beneficial for you as much as possible. I will not go so much. I will touch the global themes, but I will not go so much in it because the world split even deeper. Like last year, I could feel the two different kind of fork splits. This year, for me, I'm so far away from it. I hardly can feel the collective. It feels like, what timeline is? So, but I could feel that other reality, that bunch of people who will go in different way that will affect you. So that's what I will share, and how to hold that, how to manage that. I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I do feel it's such an intense year. And I think we know we're living in the kind of war times. And next year will be kind of epiphany war year, but war not externally, but internally. Because as you notice, it's this kind of war that's happening in the world is psychological war. And next year will be like really the threshold, the tipping point of it collectively. And that's maybe why I'm so nervous, because it's my thing. This is my theme. That's what I'm working. That's what I'm preparing with you. Like, prepare your personal strength. And some people will crash big time. It will be integrity, moral, a bit insanity kind of times. People do crazy stuff, but not for you. For you, actually, good news. And I want to start with the themes for you personally, for the people who are in my world, people who want to step into that creation of new world, contributing to humanity, contributing with your own of being, with your gifts. So next year will be a massive shift in this identity and real reclamation of that self-leadership. It's really the action from this deeper sovereignty. And it's kind of, I love what came up, the sentence, it's grow up into your self-energy. I really love that. Like, grow up into your selfhood, into yourself. Like, this is who I am.
this is what I'm standing. And it's kind of integration of many years you were working on it, like that healing, redefining, shedding, clearing yourself. So it will be like completion and some sort of new cycle of self-definition, but not coming from the place of ego, but more from this clarity, from this like, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know my values. So it's going to be a big theme, like self-leadership and this selfhood and self-identity, like who you are, what you stand in the world, will be a very, very potent theme. It's literally the year for visionaries and the year for like sensitive leaders, for compassionate heart leaders. And that's why some of you really feel like, oh, it's boiling, it's coming out. I'm almost there. So next year will really support you there. And you will be kind of invited not only to claim your purpose more, but your desires, your self-responsibility, and build new structures from your truth. Literally everything from your truth. So it's really reclamation of yourself in a deeper way. And I love that it's kind of the time where inner and outer world meets. So your internal transformation that's been happening for years, and of course it will continue happening because we're in continuous evolution. But you notice like it was a time where it was like, it was hard to act. It was like we were called to withdraw, like to go within, to kind of, it was hard to get action momentum. And next year is the year of fire horse in Chinese astrology. So we're moving from the snake year to the fire horse. And the snake year was all about shedding your identities, shedding all patterns. And fire horse is moving, action, going forward. It's the movement energy. So you will be pulled more to the action, but from more place of courage and place of clarity. It's like suddenly the fog will go away and you will like, wow, this is where we're going, like a horse. So one of the themes is this call to action year. It's deep turning point from shedding to the action. And some sort of like need to act on what was building for years inside. Like you were fine tuning, building and maturing, fertilizing, and now it will be, I need to move, to act. And some of you are literally doing that right now. Like I love, like I'm writing a book, I cannot stop. And it will come from this renewed sense of courage, because a lot of us were like, yeah, I want to bring the world and my meaning, my work in the world, but it's some kind of it's like, I'm doubtful, and now it will come from this deeper courage and like more aligned, rooted courage instead of like reaction kind of action. Because before it was a lot of like reaction action. Ooh, this triggered me. And now it will be more steering, more leading kind of rooted courage action. And it will be more the shift also in that action sense from searching towards like, I'm choosing this kind of energetics. It's very different energetics. Yeah, and I will talk here a lot about energetics because that's my thing, psychology and energetics. So searching is like who I am, what is my work, how to do it, how to express myself, it's like in search of yourself, pursuit of yourself. And now it's like coming back to that self-leadership, that clarity of your identity is like I'm choosing this because that's what feels true to me. And
if you are interested in these kind of profound and insightful conversations, if you feel like you would benefit from powerful, deep, luxurious support in your process of expansion and claiming deeper self-leadership capacity in all areas of your life, and especially in your business, I want to invite you to my exclusive non-conventional signature program called The Rise Voice. It's deep dive journey of your becoming and claiming your true potential and practical embodiment of it in a small group of people for 6 or 9 months period. At the moment, new group starts end of October, and there are only 3 spots left, and you can find the link in the description of this podcast, or you just can reach out to me via email or my Telegram channel. This is a very special sanctuary I created, pouring all of me and all the wisdom I gained through my own embodiment journey, so you can rise, claim your voice, and find an access point to the sanctuary of your very own.
And fire element is coming. It's already, I felt that last year. I think we started to kind of tap into it. I think in last year predictions, I also said fire element is coming more. But this year, the fire element will be very prominent, and it will be for many years. I think about 20 years or so will be the main element leading, which means, again, for the world and for you, 2 different things. Fire element is this ignition element, is this heart, like passion, heart projects, hard work, compassion, what you care about. It's this ignition of emotion, ignition of passion. And if you feel like you have heart issues, because I felt these days very strongly the heart energy, I recommend for you to take care of that, because the heart part will be affected next year. Like I could feel deep pressure, like was the main thing that was affecting during these days in preparation. And what it also fire brings a lot of emotions, a lot of emotional turmoil. So it depends where you are in emotional maturity. It will test you. If you were avoiding feel emotions, if you're avoiding to go there, it will, it will be crisis. You will be forced to go in places. But a lot of you went to these places. A lot of you are already in some sort of emotional maturity. So for you, it will be to self-regulation in that regards, and holding also the crisis in the world, because globally, emotional maturity is quite low. So there will be a lot of in that regards, and you have to learn to navigate and hold that. So emotional maturity will be very strong, and for you as well, it will shift from this emotional fog. Where did I wrote here very well? It's kind of emotional overwhelm, spiritual sensitivity, this emotional fog a little bit, and clarity. We've been in that till now. It was some sort of energy. This collective confusion in a way, where we are, what's going. And it will start to shift towards emotional clarity, creativity, ignition, compassion, energy, to the fire, to this different kind of emotion. So that clarity, which is another big theme, the clarity, comes emotionally, but also mentally. And that will bring this ignition energy, the heart energy, will bring to a renewed purpose and devotion to your mission. And maybe some of you already feel that. So for many years, we were kind of tested and had a bit of shaking foundation in our body, with money, with stability, with values, with our purpose, with our body in the world, our, like, what do we, body of work in the world, that's what I wanted to say. And now you will no longer be in this kind of shock state or like this confusion state. It will be more integration stage and transformation. So, as I said a little bit yesterday, we begin to understand not that the world is changing. That was like a little bit, and we were in a washing machine, and now we are changing and everything changing in us. It will be clarity how we are changing. Things will start to be clear for you personally and collectively, like, that direction kind of thing. But also that will come with you clarity of your purpose, clarity of your direction, and deeper devotion to that. I feel like businesses who are doing money for the money or, manipulative will have a very, very hard time next year. It was already building up, but next year will be a tipping point because the shift is happening, like these heart-based spiritual awakening, ignition kind of people taking the action with their body of work in the world, with their mission, with their medicine in the world, with more clarity. And the other kind of businesses that were already shaky will really have hard time. So it's kind of the turning point of this. So the good news for you, you will have clarity, much more clarity, not only emotional, but mentally, but also with your purpose. So just stay patient if it's not there yet. We didn't fully enter it yet, the new year energy. It's kind of the soil stops shaking and the sprout starts to appear. So it's not like completely like full fertilized energy. It's, remember, we finished 9-year cycle and we kind of starting number 1. We're starting a new cycle. So we're moving from the winter season internally and a little bit collectively towards the very early spring, where us kind of getting clear, like, oh, this is where I'm going. Oh, this is who I am. These are my ideas I want to nurture, the seeds I want to grow. But that will give you hope, give you direction, give you movement. Because being in winter season and this non-active season, it's very frustrating for a lot of people, including me. It's hard to go. We want to see, to be hands-on, right? So it's a good news for that. Yeah. Oh, I love Annie Marie says my personal year. One of some of the things 2025 was my personal year, and one of some things you mentioned have been happening for me this year. A lot of themes I already sensed also this year. It was like, we're transitioning more and more. So I also felt this through the year shifting more and more. And even now, some things I'm really sensing what is like the 2026 energy. So I know it will not happen like, okay, from one day to another. It's kind of the ice doesn't freeze over like in 1 second. It like it cools down slowly until it becomes the ice. So that's how we also function. So yeah, I love that you feel those things. But one of the most important things will be your nervous system and your capacity. I know I keep talking about that a lot and bragging about a lot, but this year, if I want to share about that, how I feel, it will be from different perspective. So nervous system is at the core of everything. And a lot of people are very exhausted nervous system state, which was deliberately built and organized for this year. Because when you exhaust it in your nervous system, you will crack very quickly if you encounter any small pressure. You just don't have capacity. And that's why I was talking to heal your nervous system, to learn to regulate your nervous system. It still will be the core thing. It's still, especially for sensitive people like you, if you didn't pay attention to that, I recommend to really take seriously this topic because it affects everything. When you're in the stress dysregulated state, your digestion doesn't work well. You cannot really see reality as for what it is. You cannot really think clearly. It affects everything. And I have nervous system care course, the foundations. All my work is based on the nervous system. But this year, the nervous system will be demanded in a different capacity. And the word, that was the key word that was buzzing for days for me. And the word is pressure. And I feel collectively next year will be a pressure cooker kind of energy, psychologically, nervous system wise. And your capacity to be successful next year depends how you can hold the pressure. Because notice, we are not good in holding pressure. We will do anything to get a release. Like it's uncomfortable. Like when you have to have difficult conversation, when you have to have strong boundary, it's like it's a pressure you have to hold in the body. When someone had a bad opinion or misunderstood you, it's like a pressure. When you launch something and nobody reacted, it's a pressure you have to hold till you start to see some fruits. But because people are so tired and people are not, how to say, it's a power game we're fighting in the world, right? So if people are not stepping in their power and self-leadership, and if the pressure will come, and it will come, people will fracture, people collapse. So it's not about information. For example, I already witnessed people, conscious people, who are very aware about information, what's happening in the world, very aware about digital ID. But because the nervous system cannot hold pressure, the moment pressure comes, they do crazy stuff and they give their power away very quickly. So at the core of it is like, how is your capacity to hold the pressure, to hold discomfort, but especially the pressure. You know, I'm seeing that pressure cooker where the water is boiling and the lid is like, but can you hold it? Can you hold it? Because this is where people will really fracture. And they will go into whatever, like give power away, do actions that doesn't make sense. It's not even in their biggest interest as well. And somewhere deep down, they know, but because they want the relief, because they cannot hold the pressure. And that's, I just bring that for you when you encounter those things. And when, people surprise you with all the actions and sometimes some insanity, know that it's just their lack of capacity to hold the pressure. And that requires a buildup. That requires your capacity overall. Hold your power, hold your truth, hold your values, hold your integrity, but also where your nervous system is. How your nervous system can hold the pressure without getting sick, getting dysregulated, going into your defenses, in contraction. And it will go in the contraction, but kind of, can you hold it? Can you not to collapse, not to sabotage yourself? And that, what I feel next year collectively will be a little bit mental insanity kind of year because of that, because of the key thing is people not being able to hold the pressure. And it will show up with emotional roller coaster, because people, you know, some people just need to release out the emotions because they cannot hold the pressure. They just need to release it somehow. People will start to kind of go into the loops, you know, like it doesn't make sense. They go in their victimhood loops, or like, for example, little girl energy, or some sort of child energy, or some sort of victimhood. And I'm sharing this because it's very important for you to stay in your power and keep very strong boundaries. Because what they will approach you and what they will do, they will try to find the release. They will try to find the repair of the emotions that they're uncomfortable to hold. They find to release the friction, the pressure, but without real authority, without really ownership of what's going on. And that goes nowhere. That just will drag you into that spiral of loop. And it will be very hard for people who will not be able to hold the power and fall for the pressure. It will be very hard for people to meet you in your maturity. So just know, there's nothing wrong with you. You have to stay strong. If there's no ownership, if you notice that there's no holding their own responsibility of themselves, it will be hard. Like they will be stuck in these loops. It will be very hard for them to see the bigger picture, the truth. And this is where people even like will not make sense, will start to kind of, the word insanity kind of came to me. Like it will be a lot of mental breakdown, which I've seen like for years that this is coming. And another big theme, which is also related to what we're talking, is integrity, ethics, and sanity. I don't know if you already noticed, but I notice so many people, even conscious people, aware people wanting to do their best, their integrity starts to be wobbly. Already a few years I noticed that. And that's, again, part of not being able to hold your power, your truth, your values. And this is where, you know, people kind of go all the mental gymnastics to justify themselves. But integrity is integrity. Ethics is at ethics. And this will be a tipping point in humanity, because a lot of people will start to go off this track. And then a lot of people will start to hold, no, we have to hold the values, we have to hold the ethics, we have to hold the sanity and integrity. And that will redefine the humanity and relating different way. So you will be invited stronger to hold your integrity, to hold your ethics, hold your values, to know your values, what you stand for very deeply. Because if you're wobbly, it will sneak in. It will wobble you. People will do a lot of unethical things because, again, not being able to hold the pressure. They will do unethical things just to have that release. You know, people do crazy stuff. They sleep with the people they don't want, and they give money away, they give power away just because it's such a pressure. Like, oh, hot potato, take it. You cannot hold it. And what's shocking to me, like some people that I thought they would have more into them, like a leaf, you know, and fall. So be prepared, and this will be very much called into for you. And I'm sharing that because it's so important for you to have that as a pivotal foundation. How you build, how you show up, how you relate, what you say yes to, what you say no to. It's like internal compass. integrity will be important as ever. I know I did a lot of work there. 3 years I continued because integrity is something deeply important to me. But boy, oh boy, there are so many little holes that these things can squeak in. If you don't hold that, if you don't come back to, but what do I stand for? What matters to me? What do I care about? If you're wobbly, it will kick you out there. And then it's like, why did I do that? What is what happened there? So it will be, in a way, psychological pressure, a psychological pressure cooker, like mental breakdown, but also the beginning of next personal and collective chapter. So this is where we are invited to step out in the world much more. Like our work, our showing up, if you don't have clarity about your work, your showing up will matter more than you think, because you will hold that power, that leadership, that recalibration for others, that sanity. If you can hold it, of course. The values, this is like the balancing it out. So for us, next year is going to be a really positive year. But also your capacity will be challenged, and you have to learn to be in your capacity to hold that. Capacity to receive, to hold, to manage, and to lead. That's what is the core of it. And it will show you where you don't have capacity, where your power leakages are, will be very clear. There's no more hiding anymore. Like there's no more squeaky corners that you can avoid. Everywhere you're lying to yourself, where you're doing bullshit to yourself, it will all be like, ah, let's come back to your values. Let's come back to your integrity. Like, where do you stand for? So this is the year, visionary year for visionaries in a way. This is where we also will dream, it's not that your business will be, for some, yes, of course, depends where you are in a cycle, but it will be more, oh, I stand for this, I dream this is the seed I want to grow. It will be this kind of, and it will be very ignition to action and clarity moment. And it will be not like your action will be, I'm doing that because I just want to go there, but it will be very much backed up with deepening why, with deepening of your heart, with deepening of devotion of what you care about in the world. Because if you don't go deep enough, if you think about, how do I sell? How do I promote? How do I market? Or, what do I do? How do I structure my business? It means you are not deep enough in your devotion, in your why, in your service. You're doing business, you're not doing service. You have to come back like, why do I want to service people? Why do I want to service this humanity? This is this devotion part. Next year, it will be very kind of renewed energy with that devotion, very renewed energy with that purpose. So it will be like very aligned masculine, feminine energy, where it's like action with a clear direction, but very backed up with a heart, very backed up with a why, backed up with the care. Like, I really care about this. This is what I stand for. This is what I want to see the change in the world. It will be very much from that kind of energy. And that's what also I will focus more as well. I've been talking so much. I just want to check in how you guys doing. How is this all landing to you? Yeah, good. Do you have any questions, reflections, anything that comes up when I'm sharing all of that?
So about the nervous system, it's still wide swings, but now there's something that holds it much more spaciously or clearly. Sometimes I do go into this sense of my nervous system can handle so little compared to other people. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about, I'm starting to realize that part of being a very strong person and a leader is a very deep vulnerability. Like you can't, it has to be like, as you say, the softness is part, as a very important part of the strength. And
I
am
love
I a strong person or am I especially weak person? I don't know sometimes.
I love you bringing that up, because I think maybe that's something also very good to clarify, because it's very important focus as well. So first of all, it's very important to take care of your nervous system at any cost now. Know that your nervous system, which is also, we can call it differently, like your inner peace, is the most precious asset. So next year you have to really look into what are you available for and how is this affecting your nervous system. Because we know, like, if it triggers you, if it drags you into some sort of drama, it takes so much time for your nervous system to recover. And then you lose time, you lose energy, you lose direction, it breaks your heart, and all these things you have to deal. Like, the cost is very high. So it will require, so the part of your devotion implementation is discernment and dedication. And a lot of people who are doing hard work and are sensitive, you have self-leadership is to take care of your sensitivity, respect your energy and your heart. Because everything you do in relationships, in your business, everything is personal. Because you care. You're not a machine. Your business is not like, I don't care, I'm just selling. It's a movement. It's something deeper. So it touches you deeper. It touches you more, it hits you harder. So it's not that you're weaker, but it's more like, ouch, goes deeper. So one of the things is to take care of your nervous system is, first of all, what are you available for? Very, very clear boundaries. Because often we think boundaries is just, saying no to people or, situations, that too as well. But also internal boundaries. That internal war. Like, I feel shitty today, and I'm not going to let myself to go into mental chatter, finding all of evidence what is bad about me and all my life. That's the internal boundary. Because that just triggers your nervous system and activates, and that drains your nervous system. So it's very, very important to put the nervous system as a priority. And my favorite things is when I get triggered, or when situations happen, when I'm, activated in my stress response, I always ask myself, like, is it worth costing my inner peace? Or, because everything, that saying, everything that costs you inner peace is too expensive. This is really true. And another favorite sentence to cut it off is, I'm not going to give you more. I'm not going to let you steal my joy more than you already did. I'm focusing on my joy. I'm focusing on my direction. I'm focusing on where I'm moving. Because otherwise I couldn't have done anything. I have to keep moving. It's important for us to show up. And also, it's very important to not close your heart. Because as well, this is stress response. This is like, it's not safe. What you say is like, looking into that vulnerability and going there, feeling the feels very deeply, feeling the hurt, feeling all, not conceptualizing, not going with mental gymnastics, not going avoidance, but really letting your heart breathe. Because everything that's closing your heart has the power to close your heart, has too much power. And you cannot allow that next year. That's also part of self-leadership. How are you going to hold yourself in a softness? How are you going to hold your heart? That anything, an external circumstance doesn't shut it down. It can break your heart. It can really hurt you, but it cannot have the power to close it. You know, when we shut down, when we stop showing up, when we stop caring, when we withdraw, that's also part of self-leadership for me as the sensitive leader. And yes, on some extent, our nervous system is very exhausted collectively, as I said before, because we are so much bombarded with a lot of negativity, with a lot of stress. And what is worse, with this doom and gloom scenario. That affected my nervous system very, very strongly, you know, and there's this collective hopelessness in nervous system because we don't see the bright future. We don't see where we, like, everything feels like, you know, like, what's the point? I see a lot of that in people in nervous system. And then we go into the freeze and then we're not moving. We're not building. We're not, you know, it contracts. And when we contract, when we're in contracted nervous system, then everything is rejection. We look in everything as rejection. So that's why it's important to keep your nervous system nourished. Keep as much flexible as you can, like manage to not only restore yourself, but build the capacity to hold the pressure, to hold the heartbreak, to hold the, you know, ouch. Like let it all circle, but don't shut down. That's the work, in a way. Does it answer? Yeah, that's why I exactly focus on this. That's exactly what I go and learning myself and through my own embodiment, like trying to figure it out, because it's extreme to be a very extrasensory and sensitive being in these times. It's a lot negativity, a lot of stress that and also the fast pace that our nervous system is not built for. Like that's why so many of going to have that release of the pressure, scrolling, binge TV watching, you know, or eating, because we need some sort of release from the pressure. So that's very important. Again, coming back to that theme of pressure, holding the pressure, like how can you regulate yourself? How can you feel the feels? How can you learn to hold a bigger capacity to go there, to bigger capacity to hold discomfort, bigger capacity to feel the feels without shutting down? That's the core. Because otherwise, you will not be moving. And also what I'm really experimenting and working myself this year, I'm really training my nervous system to focus on celebration culture, on what is working, and also rewiring my nervous system of actually my life is about the best is yet to come. Instead of like, oh, the world is ending, you know, how do I prepare? You know, the fear-based kind of future. No, my future is where the best is yet to come. And it shifts very much the perspective, and it opens also your nervous system. And that's why, like in my programs, I focus so much on gratitude and celebration and noticing what's working. So your nervous system gets a lot of evidence, compounded evidence of like, wow, but this is working. This is so much good going on. So it has compound effect, and it moves you. It kind of opens your nervous system. So celebration culture will be also very important next year, as antidote for what's going on, for connection with yourself and others, physical and online celebration. It's kind of really, really important to focus, because there are so many things that are working out, so many ways we're living our best life that maybe 10 years we dreamed about. But because of this, survival brain is very loud. When we're in stress, we start to see tunnel vision. We just focus on the threat instead of like bigger picture and possibilities. So that's why it's important to help your nervous system to train that actually there are a lot of evidence. Things are going really well in my world, in my becoming, in where, how I evolved. So it's very, very important to that's again part of self-leadership, to choose to focus on that. Yeah, I love this question so much. And you see, I'm on fire already, because that's exactly at the heart of the heart for me. Yeah, we have to, that's for me the soft power, because when you are anchored in your truth, when you know if someone broke your heart, but you will be okay. If someone said something negative about you, something you deeply cared about, but you can hold that, you can feel that, and you know you're going to be okay, nobody has power over you anymore. Like, you can hold all parts of yourself, you can hold all outcomes, and you know you're going to be okay. Then you become like really indestructible. You may be dysregulated, you may have shitty days, you may have grief, you may have anger, but you can still, in the depth, know that you're going to be okay. And that's a different kind of leadership. And this is the capacity part. Can you hold that? Can you manage that? Can you lead yourself through that? Yeah. Like, it's not about not being dysregulated. It's about how can you regulate yourself quickly? What does it need? How can you allow yourself? How can you let the process you? Instead of control, shut down, and that's the part of not being able to hold. And this is where you have to look also in inner critic and saboteur, like in a mother, in a father, all your internal self-leadership. Because saboteur, for example, comes in when some part of you don't know how to love yet. So it kind of, takes over the leadership, some part of you that you don't know yet how to lead, how to hold, how to connect with. So that's for me also the part of self-leadership. That's why I use self-leadership. I don't use word leadership so much, because you cannot even lead others. You cannot even lead your business or your movement if you don't know how to lead yourself powerfully. Because, as again, full circle, what I started, it will be about embodied leadership next year. It will not be about leadership, it will be embodied leadership. That's exactly the word I use. It's all about embodiment. Because even now you notice all the leaders that are not really walking the talk. You already can sense it. You feel it. So it's all about embodiment. All the first learning to be mature adult and leader yourself before you can lead anything, including your own life. So that's the journey. But it's also kind of showing how powerful we are, to hold the change, to go hold the chaos, to hold the collapse of everything. And that's why for me, the self-leadership is that's only thing you will be able to trust when everything around collapses, all suggestions, all the structures, all the narratives, and this linear way of everything. Before we could see 5-year plan, 10-year plans. Now it's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Yeah, because who knows how the world will split tomorrow. So loves, I just want to share as well how big it was for me the recent years. I felt like I also grew into such a powerful inner authority and such a balanced, this inner masculine and feminine energy. I even back from you, like, it feels like you're really embodied that softness, that feminine, I feel so safe with you. I feel so relaxed. And that's kind of my core energy. But don't underestimate my bullshit radar energy. Which also got more increased with the year because I'm doing this work every day. That's my mission. That's my calling. Like, I am going deeper in layers and layers in myself, exploring people. I study human psychology and potential more than 20 years now. I think maybe 25 now. So that's really my thing. One thing I was always clear from the beginning, from very early age, what's my purpose? I was always very stable with that. And I feel like 2025 really anchored me in such an aligned inner authority and aligned way of how I build my support. And what I'm going to do next year will be more what I did this year, just with more power, more support, more precision, more resonance. So as I shared before, like, my jam is personal power, psychology, energetics, nervous system, soft power, anchoring in a soft power, not just the power, and leading yourself in all areas of your life. Like, taking people from this victimhood mentality to the very centered kind of place. And it's really very core and fundamental. And I was sitting here today in my inner yard looking in the trees, and I was like, I think I am not kind of wildflower person. My work is not seasonal. I'm like more oak tree. Longer you stay with me, more we penetrating, and more we go into kind of sustainable life shifting thing. And that's, for me, felt the most meaningful this year. Seeing the transformations in people, like all the power leakages and coming back to themselves like they never experienced before, like landing in the body that they never been before, like coming into the life instead of floating, was the most meaningful to me. And when I realized, okay, I'm not for big audience, not at least now. I am more like boutique, exclusive kind of person. I want to go very personal with you and very intimate and longer term. Because I noticed that gives the deepest transformation. And those who are with me for years, you know that, like, it's really compound effect with all the little things, little and big things, where you leakage your power. And more you go that rabbit hole, more you realize, oh my gosh. But suddenly it's like it's the blooming, and it's like, how did I got here? It's like it's completely different place, and because you take step by step. So I also love gentle and slowly, because I discovered with sensitive people nervous system, the gentle and small steps do so much more, but compounded steps it takes so further than fast and furious, than the shock, than the pushing outside your capacity. It's like, and this is where I'm so different from like standard coaching industry, because everyone talks about certainty, about confidence first, and then you can do thing, then you will feel safe. I go other way around, like first find safety, first find your capacity edge, first learn to work in your capacity, and then we gently can expand, learn to hold more. And this is where it's more easeful, more light, but it's also like it can be very activating and triggering. My energy became very powerful. And I'm saying that not from the like ego place, but I realized I need to inform that because people crash. Like it activates people already, you know, if you're not ready to meet yourself in your maturity, I'm not going to mother you. That comes that bullshit, you know, or dark kind of energy. I want to work with people, and I'm calling in more and more who are ready to kind of really lead themselves powerfully, who are ready going, like tired going patterns, tired going into like glass ceiling, you know, somewhere it's like re-traumatizing yourself over and over again because there's something, you know, it's hard on your own to go alone. So I really love the depth. I really love to go in your roots first before we go in your branches. That's the oak tree kind of, you know. But then it's kind of the shift that lasts for years. That's what I care about. It's very different energetic place. So I really love that expression as well. I want to work with your hands, not the tools. I want to work with the hands that hold the tools, that manage the tools. This is where I focus. Because when you have your hands right, in the right capacity, then you can shuffle things without dropping, that you can navigate the truth, and the clarity comes as well. Oh, my cat just walked around. I think I froze for a second. And next year, I'm raising the standards for myself. For those who are already in my world, you will go there with me. We are raising the standards. So it will be even more exclusive. I will do less simplify, but I will invite in more intimate and longer containers. I also will start to share differently. I will also not babysit people who are like before, like million reminders. I treat you as you're in your power. If you missed, if you didn't join, I will not, I trust in your self-leadership. So it will be more resonance, more intimacy, and more going into your depth. Because it's also for me very hard to work with people who cannot or don't want to go at frequency of truth. And frequency of truth, I mean, not like absolute what's right or wrong, but it's like the truth, what's going on, without bullshit, without, you know, lying to yourself. And frequency of truth means like knowing truly your potential and your power and not shrinking there. But frequency of truth is also like, where are you performing? Where are you hiding? Where are you lying to yourself? Where are you sabotaging yourself? And what is there that you cannot hold? Like for me, the leadership is learning to hold yourself holistically. Not just the good parts, but also the parts of you that are in doubt, that are fragile, vulnerable, that maybe doubtful or fearful, has a need, has information, has the wisdom to tell. So for me is more this integral, holistic leadership that I want to focus on, and I already focusing for years. So for me, Rise Voice is my ultimate program that I'm so proud of, like where it already arrived, and I will continue building that, fine-tuning, deepening. I want, my desire is that this program is like top class in the world with affordable price. And it's already been 3 rounds of this program, and I see amazing results for people, amazing shifts, and I will continue focusing on that as my main thing. So I'm kind of boutique business, you know, like it's not about the audience for me, it's about a room we're in with few people. But then we go very intimate, we go very deep, very personal, no hiding. really getting to know you. And I will start Rise Voice next year about in April. And if you know about the Rise Voice, which is the program, ultimate program, stepping into your self-leadership and acceleration of your energetic alignment, very intimate, very personal kind of journey of 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, depending. You can even now contact me and we can start conversation, because I will start first with the people who are interested in the waiting list that I have. You can subscribe also there. And this is where I start with the lower prices, with extra gifts. And then in January somewhere, I will go more like live to the world. And then I will put the normal price. The price will go up this year. But if we start conversation now till during the January somewhere, it's still old price of last year. So that I want everyone to go through, because that's for me the program that builds leaders, builds the soft power leaders. And you will hear more about it. I know some people are here from this program as well. And that's kind of my thing that I will give all of me next year. So it's a small journey. It will be few people, 8-9 people group. Nothing you experienced before. It's very non-conventional, but that's my focus, because it also covers support for everything I just shared that next year theme will be about. This is where the space that will hold you not only step into your leadership and power, but also not to crack, not to fracture, to stay in your power, to stay in your movement. That's my signature program. And then I really want to, you will notice from January, I will start showing up very differently and invite very differently. I'm also invited to kind of, be more precise. I'm done with educating people. Like, if you don't know yet that capacity and nervous system and leadership and staying personal power is the key thing, I don't, like, we're already a bit too far away from each other. Like, I want to just focus on people who are already there, who know, aware of it and want to go there. So I will not educate as much, but I will share my journey more. And next year, I'm organizing another interesting collaboration in January, end of January. It will be 3 days event, completely free, where I will collaborate with a very nice lady in my community who is focusing on human design. So those who are interested in human design, she will share about collective shifts for 2026 and 2027 from human design perspective, because it's a massive shift happening. So she will share in different vocabulary, different words, but we're shifting from this collective to more individual, more collaborative. She's also focusing a lot on the business perspective. So she will share how it affects us, how we do business. So we organize on something really cool there. Stay tuned if you want to join that one. I'm very excited about that one. And I'm organizing something juicy that I will not tell you about, because it will be a secret offer. And it will be so secret that you will know nothing about, maybe the name, or maybe just, I will see how much information I reveal. But I want you to trust your intuition and your gut. And this is for me stepping into that intuitive leadership, embodied leadership, instead of informational age. So I will share soon, just very very short information, very low price. And then every time I release more information about it, the price will go up. Everything will be a little bit in line what I do with my work. Shut up, Elaira, don't tell more. keep the energy, keep the pressure. And I also mostly share in Telegram group, Telegram free channel. And I really love it. And I will continue sharing there. If joining, if budget is not there, or joining any of my programs is not the time, or you need to build more trust with me. Telegram channel I love the most because it gives me the freedom of expression in if I want to do voice message, if I want to do video, if I want to do writing, like that multifaceted me, the freedom of it. So you will get less emails. I will do less emails because email is nice, but I don't feel the connection with you as much, but Telegram channel will stay the main platform to connect, to be, and I feel like this is where also our community will rise. So I'm stepping more also into building the community of sensitive leaders, visionary, heart-based leaders who are relating with all what I say. Cell phone is required with Telegram. I don't have one. I think there are ways around it. I think you already also did that before, no? Created that. Yeah, it's not ideal, but after searching, all the options, I feel like I want to also use the one that enables freedom to share, because other ones is like, oh, I have to think about symbols. Oh, I have to think, about I want to be where I feel free to share as well. I want to feel free in my business. That's also the part of self-leadership. So next year will be raising the standard, keeping strong boundaries. I will be even more selective who joins my world, but not from the place of, again, arrogance, but for deep care. And because I give my all. I want to go deep with you. And I need people who really are ready to lead themselves and really ready to go, to take their self-responsibility. Because otherwise it just will be waste of time. And then the projections happen and it's hard. So next year will be a really exciting year. And I'm so glad that, it's the year where all my work that I was building through years and years and years is some kind of comes together in certain maturity. And I also love the people that are in my world right now. I really, really admire. And I also want to thank those who've been long-term with me. And I think this is why people are staying long-term with me, because I'm not like seasonal kind of person. I'm not person with trends. I am the person who I'm kind of recalibrator, like balancer, like come back to your own truth in a way. That's what happens in my energy, I notice. So that's where I'm focusing. That's where I'm becoming. That's what is happening. It's kind of a regulator and supportive space. Many years when I started my work, I imagined this. I knew this time will come. So I was preparing for it. And I always imagined this kind of temple or sanctuary where these beautiful souls doing big work in the world, big, change internally, externally, can come and rest and integrate and go deeper and let their heart breathe and regulate and build their fuel and go back and do bigger things without delays, without, because sometimes when we're on our own, something happens and then we're stuck in the loop for 2 months till we get clarity or we move out of it. I want us to move. We don't have time for this. Every power leakage is very costly if you didn't notice. It's really getting more and more bigger hit in your head. So this is my heart desire. I want people to have that support. This is my service. And when you step in my world, you get all of me. Like sometimes people also have to rewire the nervous system, the level of support they get. So I'm even more devoted. I'm even more hard in. I'm even more experienced and matured. And I'm very looking forward to see what 2026 will bring. Any comments and response here for my share before we close up with one prompt that I want to share with you? Feels so good. Yes, so juicy. Yeah, and so fulfilling, so meaningful. And I really prepared, like, as well myself physically, energetically, emotionally, like, to go full in next year. So I want you to come back again to yourself, and I want to kind of wrap it up with the final question to you. In 2026, I'm ready for fill the blank. What comes up when I ask that? After being 3 days together, getting all this information, insights, awareness, what are you ready for? What is like reclamation?